Christian Ryan Williams, who is very outspoken about the dangers of the religion of Islam. When he arrived at Heathrow Airport, he was detained on suspicion of terrorism charges, which is crazy to me. Someone that is criticizing and actually saying what the Prophet Muhammad did and said, just repeating it, you get arrested and possibly, God forbid, charged and sent to prison on terrorism charges. Did you ever think we would live in this day and age where you cannot actually speak the truth about the so-called religion of Islam? Albeit Ryan does it in a very provocative, funny way. But so what? He's telling us the truth. Now, I find this completely outrageous because I saw the other day GB News reveal that criticizing the religion of Islam is protected. You're allowed to criticize the religion of Islam. It's protected under a court of law. But apparently it doesn't apply to Ryan Williams. Your freedom of speech to criticize the prophet, the false prophet Muhammad, is apparently not covered under freedom of speech in the UK, which we know the UK has fallen tremendously. It seems like Tommy Robinson was also detained under terrorism charges, and he won his appeal. He won that court case thanks to Elon Musk, because he refused to give them access to his phone. So they detained him under the Terrorism Act, which if you do get found guilty of this act, you can face time in prison. Outrageous. And what is Ryan Williams' crime? Nothing. No crime at all. Except for wearing bacon on Sky News and saying that the Prophet Muhammad, the false Prophet Muhammad, was a PDF file who married a 6-year-old and raped her when she was 9. Right. Have a watch of this. This is Ryan Williams, also known as the Korean Scott.
You out?
Yeah, but look, Schedule 7.
But what did you actually do for them to suspect that?
They said it's because of my social media posts.
They can take the Sharia law and shove out.
There's only one culture that pours acid on women's faces.
So yeah, for
Against mass migration and Islam?
exactly.
Leave the goats alone.
So I had to give them all my passwords for my phone, all my passwords for my social media, all my laptop. They've taken all my phones, laptop, everything, banking, everything. I was saying the truth that Prophet Muhammad slept with a 9-year-old and married a 6-year-old, which makes him a pedophile. So that's what I was saying. And now I'm getting investigated for... This is way worse than I could ever have thought. I thought I'd just be a normal criminal, like being done for hate speech, but I don't want to get done for being a terrorist. That's something different. So
I mean, the consequences are more severe.
yeah, well, if I go to jail for being a terrorist, then that's a lot worse than just hate speech.
Yeah, going to jail for terrorism charges is a lot worse than just hate speech. But how is criticizing the religion of Islam or the death cult of Islam, how is that considered hate speech? But yet Muslims and countless other people can criticize Christianity all they want. They can speak ill of Christianity. But yeah, that's not considered hate speech. That's not covered under the Terrorism Act. But yet the most amount of terrorists come from what religion? The level of hypocrisy or the irony in all this is truly profound, isn't it? A Christian man criticizing the religion of Islam, speaking the truth about that religion, or the death cult, right, gets arrested under terrorism charges or the Terrorism Act. How in the world does that work? Here is the other day. This is the report that I saw from GB News. The court rules that criticizing Islam is a protected belief. Have a watch of this.
To be honest, there's been a ruling in court this week which introduced, or I guess affirmed a law which, to be honest, I thought we could already do. It is now legal for you to criticise Islam in this country. That is now a protected belief. A bloke called Patrick Lee put up some pretty robust comments on social media, and he's been going through a 4-year process through an employment tribunal, which has ended with a judge saying that it should be a protected belief to criticise Islam. And of course it should be, for 2 reasons. Number one, the left have conflated race with religion and culture in this country very effectively. You can't choose your race. That should be something which is morally abhorrent to criticise, to discriminate on the basis of. A religion or a culture is a choice. That is something which should be open to debate. And make no mistake, there are questions that need to be answered around the fringes of Islamic culture and in Islamic communities when it comes to the treatment of women, minority groups, and the separation of mosque and state. This is a really positive result for free speech in this country. It's just sad that it's got to a point where a judge actually has to affirm this as opposed to it being common sense.
I totally agree with you. This is when I saw this ruling, I was completely gobsmacked because, again, as you said, this should just be commonplace. We have established here for hundreds and hundreds of years that we have criticism of religion of all colours. Of all colours. We've been making jokes of Christianity for hundreds and hundreds of years, of Judaism, of every other religion. But why did it take the last 80 years to change that when actually Islam became unable to be criticised?
Through an employment tribunal.
Well, it's not even. Well, the thing is, what you've said is it's specific to employment. So there are. It's not like you've got the full freedom to say it.
You're right.
But it's going that way, which is good.
The problem is that when people have criticised Islam, the school teacher in Batley who is still in hiding, nearly 4 years on, in France, Charlie Hebdo, people die. No one's scared of any other religion, but they are scared of criticising that one, and that's what has to stop.
Are there any professions, do you think? Are there any professions where these types of views or radical views shouldn't be allowed?
You shouldn't allow any professional to allow their personal views to influence what they do.
But we know that happens. The reality of life, Dr. O'Leary, is that that's going to happen.
Okay, listen, Kai. I don't believe that the NHS or anyone should be actually changing the sex of a human being. I don't believe that. But that hasn't stopped me helping one particular patient all the way through that journey because I can separate the two. So any professional should be able to separate the two.
I think that's right. That's where this becomes difficult with all politics, actually. It's when you can't separate your politics from your life. Unfortunately, we're always going to... I mean, we all work together. All of us have differing views on something here. None of us agree on everything wholeheartedly, right? And so the point of life is to be able to say, we disagree, but how can we at least move forward, right? And not have to argue and destroy each other's lives. However, when a company is trying to take someone to court over, I think it's nuts.
Alex, I think we're pretty aligned on illegal immigration policy.
Oh, yeah. I think most things, not everything.
We're going to have to leave it there, I'm afraid.
Islam is not a race, so it shouldn't be protected. It is a religion. This man spent 4 years after social media posts. 4 years being dragged through the courts. Finally, we thought, not just in the UK, but here in Australia, we thought that it is our right to criticize any religion we want because it is a religion. It's not a race. It's not a culture. It is a religion. I thought under freedom of speech, you're allowed to do that, but evidently not. So poor Ryan Williams having to now go through the courts. Goodness knows how long that's going to take. But this is what the left does. The UK has a Muslim Home Secretary that defends Muslims, that plays the victim for Muslims. Keir Starmer sides with Muslims. Doesn't side with Christians. Couldn't care less about Christians. So why is it that Ryan was detained under terrorism charges, no less? Seems a little bit extreme, don't you think? Seems like there is a two-tier justice system going on in the UK. Oh, sure, we'll allow actual terrorists into the country, but we won't arrest them, but we will arrest someone for a social media post For sure. That's easy done. We'll make their life a living hell. I don't know why Ryan decided to come back to the UK, but I think he was living somewhere else. But for the time being, he sort of escaped the UK, but he may have had to have come home. But it just seems a bit too extreme, doesn't it? A bit too much. What's going on? Not just in the UK, but here in Australia. It seems like the Muslims are protected beyond belief. Why? Why are you protecting them? What's the point? Makes you think, doesn't it? We have Muslims in positions of power. And again, I'll say this is not all Muslims, by the way. Just seems to be a very select group that are making it very difficult for actual Christians. Makes you think as well, why is that? So Piers Morgan trying to stick up for Muslims the other day with Patrick Bet-David, and I made a video about that. But what's interesting is, hey, Piers, do you agree with this guy getting arrested, Ryan Williams, under terrorism charges? Do you agree with that? Because he said the truth about the religion that you actually support? Huh. Oh, by the way, you have, I don't know how many Muslim mayors. New York City's going to get it soon. They're going to find out what Sharia really is about. So just seems crazy to me. Too much. Anyway, I'll keep you guys updated about Ryan's case because I am very much interested about what happens next. But that's insane. It really is insane. Poor Ryan. Anyway, that's enough from me. You guys take care. Be blessed. And I'll see you all in the next video.